Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi here from Davos, and with me, one of the people who is responsible for all that goes behind the scenes, and of course, now you're on the screen when it comes to Invest India. Deepak Bagla, the Managing Director and CEO of the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency for India. Deepak, it's been a busy 3 days, a couple more to go. But for viewers back home to digest, apart from all the snow that they have seen, India everywhere, old slogan being repeated. What's really tangibly emerged in the first 2-3 days that you would like to tell our viewers?
Siddharth, it's been both snow and sunshine. So in every which way, notice. It's been quite a Davos this year.
Okay.
And even the organizers of the World Economic Forum were telling me they've got 2,500 people who are here this time registered. It's probably one of the highest numbers they have. But equally sizable is if you see the Indian contingent. At here, we've got 4 senior ministers with us leading the charge. We've got a large number of senior government officials. We've got the chief ministers of the state governments, etc. So when you say India everywhere, it actually is India everywhere. And if you look at it, every 10 steps, you come across India. It's either a state government pavilion, or you will have a private sector pavilion from the government or the private sector itself. But most interesting, if you look at it, this year we have 2 additional pavilions in addition to the India Lounge. One is based on sustainability, which is one of the core areas and focus areas of the Honorable Prime Minister. And if you go to that lounge, the kind of interest it has evinced, it's been completely overcrowded. And we've had a large number of roundtables and discussions there, which are going very well. In addition to that, we have another lounge which is for inclusivity, which is to show the strength of the Indian artisans and the craftsmen at work. The new India, which is bottom up, the one district, one product program. And I think, again, that's been of very deep interest. We've had a lot of people walking into our lounge, very interested by that. But I'll tell you what we've done here. We have over about close to 24 roundtables on investor interest. The PLI interest has been very, very strong.
I want to come to that, but before we do that, since you mentioned sustainability, I want you to pick up that very interesting
bamboo.
And viewers, I think the story should be told by Deepak himself. What exactly is this? I just saw this and I know the backstory, but for you to reveal it to our viewers, what is
it? So, bamboo movement in India has now really picked up a lot, and we're doing everything from furniture to even clothing now. So we have a special team within Invest India which is working on all these initiatives. So this is what was brought from India. These are the bamboo water bottles which we've created.
Okay.
And which is from some of our startups, in fact. So everything which you see in this lounge has a startup element, and startups which are focusing on sustainability. And it's interesting you pick this up because every investor has commented on that on every roundtable which we've had.
Have they sought these as souvenirs?
Yes, they have. So we've been giving a lot of those too.
Okay, but on to more serious topics. There have been 2 surveys which have dominated the early coverage out of Davos. One is the World Economic Forum Chief Economist Survey. A majority of those polled expect a recession. And that's ex-India actually. Nobody's talking about India. There's a second survey of 4,400 plus global CEOs done by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which again says the same thing. It again doesn't say anything about India beyond the point that the Indian CEOs who have been polled are less pessimistic in some ways. If I asked you to do your own straw poll right now, because I don't know how many CEOs you have met in the last 3 days, how would you describe the mood of Indian CEOs?
So by the way, on the surveys, a similar one has been done in Japan and a similar one has been done with Sweden. And there India ranks the top in companies which are planning to invest in India and companies which are planning to expand their current businesses in India. So the highest level of optimism which stands there. In many ways, it's also a mark of what India has moved beyond the COVID. You have repositioned yourself as the fastest growing large economy on the planet. And what everyone is here talking about is not just the leadership which you have taken in the business side of it, but how the Indian leadership steered India through one of the most challenging situations. Globally, it was the most challenging situation vis-a-vis any of the others.
In living memory.
In living memory. And not just challenging, steering it so successfully and so effectively, but at the same point of time, introducing business reforms, keeping that business reform part going parallel. In addition to doing some of the most biggest sustainable programs on the planet, please don't forget, even during the lockdown of the pandemic, you got a drinking water tap to 200 million individuals. The Jal Jeevan mission, which is still going on. At the same point of time, you were feeding 800 million individuals every day. Everyone is talking about this. So the other interesting element which is emerging is that India's role now in solving and bringing solutions to the world's challenges, not just limited to business, but what we are all witnessing around. And I think that is where the India's leadership is standing quite tall, and much taller than many of the others which are there.
Deepak, as the head of the Investment Facilitation Promotion Agency, India has one of the most liberal foreign direct investment regimes, and for an economy our size and with a population that is now said to have surpassed that of China, it is the most liberal. How do you see foreign investment flows? They have been very well, but going beyond 2023, 2024, what sectors do you think are going to perform really well when it comes to foreign investment flows?
Siddharth, look at the FDI flows. Since independence, India's got about $950, $960 billion. Over 530 billion of that has come in the past 96 months. Over 50%. In 96 months. I'm talking of since our independence. The other interesting factor, it's come to me from 162 countries. Please remember, FDI is not just about that dollar coming in. It is about trust. It is about faith. It's about India's leadership and the trust in them. And it's about India's future. And India's desire and willingness to partner with the world.
And do you feel, Deepak, that these record levels of foreign direct investment inflows and its different viewers from FII flows is going to continue, considering that the significant part of the world, including Europe, are headed for a tough economic environment?
Siddharth, the answer is in your question. They are in a tough economic environment. The rest of the world is still trying to grapple and come out of the situation of the pandemic. India is the fastest growing large economy. Where else will that money go? Look at it. For 8 consecutive years, you've set a new FDI record. Every year, we've beaten our previous year's record. Even in the lockdown, I got the highest ever FDI in our history, 83.5 billion.
And where is all that money going? Just the top 2-3 sort of areas, sectors that you could mention top.
Interestingly, it's come into 61 sectors. And more interestingly, it's come into 31 states and union territories of India.
So it's more or less evenly spread?
So 2 parts to that, Siddharth. One is the moment we probably have the largest bouquet of opportunity offerings on the planet. 61 sectors today are now offering that huge opportunity. What is the other element happening to it is that my ability to absorb large capital projects and large capital is increasing.
But
so when you asked me
yes,
that how will this future trajectory move, is that now I'm at an inflection point where I can absorb a higher level of capital when I already have the opportunity which is well recognized by the world. And let me give you the third part to it, Siddharth. It's now come in 31 states and union territories. If you drew this pie chart even a decade ago, you would not have had more than 10 or 11 of those come in there. What does that mean? It is the Prime Minister's objective of growth with equity and inclusion. And the new India which is coming up is bottom up. Because each of my states today has earned a global respect of trying to attract that dollar. And what is interesting, again to take it to the trajectory which you were mentioning, each state has a very unique offering in the Indian context.
So who wins between Maharashtra and Gujarat?
I think they both win. It's a win-win situation which is happening because investment is now going to flow where one the opportunity is.
But Maharashtra felt bad that it lost out on a semiconductor plant. Gujarat got it.
We all have ways to improve. We all have a next new battle to take on. And there is enough investment for everyone, Siddharth. The story has just begun.
The story has just begun. As we wind down this conversation, you spent many years at the helm of trying to facilitate investment into India. What's that best memory of the big success that you felt, and what's your disappointment so far?
I tell you, one of the biggest things which helped me was, and which I feel good about how the team worked, the way you can make an investment successful is how you can utilize and make their capital work fast. We had the world's largest wind power company when they were scouting other countries, and we got them into India. The best experience they'd had was in a neighboring country, and they're in several countries, and they were creating a wind blade, the wind power blade, the longest one. From the day their board gave them approval to the day the first blade came out of their factory, the best example they had was about 18 months. In India, usually when they had come in with a set of people who were guiding them, they were told it'll be anywhere between 56 to 64 months. We did it in 14 months and 23 days. It was the ability of India to get things done when they want to get it done. And that is what has begun. And what I liked the most is when I had a senior government official of that state who called and said, Mr. Bagla, we did it. And for the company, it's an example, because what you've done is you've utilized that capital to the point where it starts earning for you in a much shorter period of time.
I asked you what is left undone, and as you answer that, I just want to add something that Apollo's Neeraj Kanwar said, and he gave me what is a different feedback. He set up a plant in less than 12 months in Hungary, and he said the equivalent took more than 30 months in India. So while there is a lot of sunshine, there's a bit of snow as well, and it's snowing outside.
Very interesting, but let me leave you with a thought. When you are at an inflection point, there'll be a lot of stories of the past, and there'll be a few stories of the new. You will become of the stories which you adopt. So either you believe in the stories which lie ahead, which is what they are coming out to be, or you hold on to the stories of the past. And there are very good stories of a new India, which will show you where it is headed.
Deepak, I wish you all the very best to continue to write successful and great stories as far as promoting investment in India is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, Deepak Bagla, the man who is behind much of India Everywhere, once again here at Davos. If you've been watching, thank you very much.